Say steaks. Hey, Anne-Marie, say steaks are very important. Not a lot of people talk about them.
Say tent steaks are important.
I like bananas.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to. This isn't the Gear Loft.
We're in the SBO hunting lodge.
We're in the hunting lodge
Yeah.
right now. As we wrap up Ohio hunting. So.
Yep.
We've been doing a little bit of testing lately on actually steaks. And the whole reason we've been doing some testing on steaks is because we got quite a few viewers that actually asked us questions about what types of steaks that we prefer when we backpack.
I feel like we also have a never-ending battle with steaks.
We also have a never-ending.
It's like our kryptonite.
Yeah, it's because we want to have the lightest steak possible, but like
and we're not willing to sacrifice.
And we're not willing to sacrifice anything. So to be honest, this video probably kind of dumb to be fair.
But it
is important.
And
we do get questions.
We do get questions a lot about steaks, and we've had situations where, like, when we were at Dolly Sods, like, our steaks kept getting ripped out of the ground because of the wind, and it seems like when we go to a lot of places in Ohio, we're always dealing with subpar staking conditions. Like, the ground's always wet. We're in pine forest a lot, so the pine straw is really loose.
Yeah.
And so we just have this constant battle with steaks.
So I think we can preface this by saying, in general, for hammock camping, especially with tarps, you're gonna want a steak that offers a lot of friction.
Yeah,
and
stays
also,
in the ground
and is also rigid. So that's kind of when you're out there looking for steaks, you're gonna want something rigid and that offers a lot of friction. That way, it stays firmly planted in the ground as well. So I've got examples of all the steaks that we've been using, but to be honest, these are really like common. Tons of different manufacturers make all these different types of steaks pretty similar, but I'll just tell you the ones that we tried. But again, it's just gonna come down to the fact that you need something rigid and you need something that offers a lot of friction in the ground. So that's where we'll go. We started using, I would say, in our in our lightweight backpacking journey, we started out with the titanium shepherd's hook steaks. These are super common. They're all over the place. Everybody makes one. I was using these with my ultralight tent, which was a Gossamer Gear the One tent, which I still have. And it worked fine for the primary tie-outs or the primary stakeout points on the One, and then those of you that have used that as tent, there's kind of two main tie-outs that come out on each side that require kind of a bulkier stake, but this was primarily the ones that I used for that. So then when I got into hammock camping, I just started using the shepherd's hook stakes for hammock camping.
Big mistake!
Big mistake. In my personal experience and in your personal experience, just gonna be honest here, these suck for hammock camping.
Yeah, so for hammock camping in general, like when you're deploying a tarp, you put a lot of tension on the stakes. I mean, I think much more so than a tent.
Yeah. The problem that with these titanium shepherd's hooks is, one, titanium is soft, so they bend very easily, and also when they hit either hard clumps of dirt or rocks, they either like won't be able to go through the dirt, or the rock will bend and crumple it. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is it doesn't offer a lot of friction once you have it in the ground.
Very slippery.
So they're slippery, so meaning if you get like if you have a lot of wind or something like that, these will come out.
What's next?
So in our stake journey, then Kevin and I are like, okay, the shepherd's hook are great because they're super light. So let's look for a more rigid stake that's titanium. That way we can, have some more support, but it'll still be pretty lightweight. So then we went with the Vargo Ascent stakes. We specifically bought these at Dutchware. Again, these are made by Vargo though, and everybody knows Vargo, titanium products and all that stuff. So it's kind of like a scoop steak. It's kind of like a scoop, like a V style steak.
Like it's not a groundhog, it's like a V style.
Yeah, it's like a V style, and it's got some cuts in it. to offer a little bit more friction when it's in the ground. So we use these for a little bit, and they're definitely
better than the shepherd's hooks.
Definitely better than the shepherd's hook, but again, the problem with titanium is it just crumples when it hits. It bends and crumples when it hits hard surfaces. And also occasionally, you know, since it's only like a V, like a scoop, you know, there are some situations in some high windy conditions, or if you're in loose dirt, where these would come out as well. So yes, they were much better than the shepherd's hook stakes, but we were breaking them, and either if you put them in loose dirt, or like if you were camping in like, you know, heavy forest with a lot of duff on the ground, they would come out. Or on the opposite of that, in Ohio, there's like a lot of clay, and like really hard surfaces where these had trouble going in.
And if you put too much force on them going in, they'll bend.
Yeah, so we got kind of annoyed with how much they started bending. It was a neat idea, but they just don't hold up. So so then what I started doing is I had some old MSR Groundhogs that I had in the gear closet for a while.
I had those with my first tent too, like 10 years ago.
Yep, so I had a few MSR Groundhogs lying around. I actually bought the MSR Groundhogs for, remember I was talking about the Gossipy Gear 1 tent where there was 2 pullouts that had a lot more pressure on it, so I had 2 of these that I had bought for that tent. So I started using the Vargo Ascent stakes in combination with 2 of the MSR Groundhogs, and everybody knows the MSR Groundhog is just a fantastic...
It's a big stake, though.
It's a fantastic stake. It's aluminum. Yes, it's heavier than titanium.
Big.
It's what you refer to as a Y stake. It's got 3 sides, so it's extremely rigid, and it's aluminum. And when you put it in the ground, you can pound it through clay and hard surfaces. If it hits a rock, it's not going to bend and crumple. And once it's in the ground, it stays in the ground. A lot of companies now make like an aluminum Y stake. This is a Dutchware one as well that I just picked up. Not as bulky as the Groundhog, a little bit lighter. But it holds in the ground very nicely. Z-Packs makes them as well. A lot of cottage vendors make their own like Y style stakes now, especially the aluminum versions. They even make like a spiral. There's like spiral Y size Y stakes aluminum out there.
I didn't know that.
Again, it just offers more friction when it's in the ground, and sometimes easier to get in the ground.
Mind blown.
So, and just because we wanted to screw around with something else,
I've seen those before on the trail. The nails.
Yeah, we picked up like a titanium nail or punch style stake.
People use those.
Yeah, it's gonna be more rigid than a shepherd's hook stake. So
stronger.
It's stronger. It's not gonna bend as easier. But the problem is it offers almost little to no friction once you get in the ground, so it just comes right out in a lot of cases as well. So
a lot of these stakes, they're not going to be good for where we backpack in the Midwest. We're dealing with wet, slippery, clay-based, maybe pine straw-based ground conditions.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like we either have really hot, like hard ground from like clay, or we have really soft ground because there's like a few, there's like 6 to 8 inches of duff on the ground.
Yeah, that's really what we're dealing with. And these little things, they don't work. But if you're somewhere where it's maybe like rockier or it's tougher and you can get that thing in there and hammer it in, maybe it works.
But then you're just gonna get it behind a rock, and it's just gonna help prop it up. Whereas if you got like an aluminum style Y stake, like you're not gonna have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
So our recommendation, like I said at the beginning of the video, aluminum stake with a Y on it. Again, lots of different companies make them. Our favorite is the MSR Groundhog. Again, I got this Dutchware one as well, which works great too. Again, the concept is sound. That's going to be our recommendation.
I want to talk a little bit about stake preferences in general. Something that I really liked about the Vargo stake, and something I'm going to keep going with, is Vargo ties a little piece of glow wire on the end of their stakes.
Oh yeah, super helpful. nail has one on it, so.
Incredibly helpful. That's like a little feature that I didn't really think too much of, but one, it helps you pulling the stake out of the ground. Two, it helps you even in daylight locate the stake. You know, that's the biggest pain, is when you bury these things in the ground trying to locate them.
Or you drop them.
And then 3, at night, because it's glow wire, you won't step on these, you'll see it. So that's one thing, and you see a lot of stakes start to do it, is it's worth the little bit of weight to have this glow wire on there.
Yep, so I'm going to be using all MSR Groundhogs, and I'm going to put glow wire poles on them all. So it's really, really nice.
Another thing that really intrigues me, and I bring it up in a couple videos, is I really want to look at some carbon fiber stakes, because they're going to be lighter than this, and they're probably going to be pretty stiff and strong, but I mean they won't be as strong as metal. But I'm curious, because they are made. People make carbon fiber stakes, and I might try that out. Because, like, these are great stakes, but it's not 2000. We don't backpack with aluminum anymore if we don't have to.
My pot's aluminum.
That's true. That's true. So I'm curious. I'm curious as to what the carbon fiber stakes are like, or maybe some really high density plastic stakes. Because I don't know. Yeah, titanium is not cutting it. It's just not strong enough. It's not rigid enough for what we need it to be.
Yeah, so I think in the future we'll pick up some carbon fiber stakes. We'll give a few of those a shot as well. If you actually have any recommendation on some carbon fiber stakes, I know people were recommending the Easton nail style carbon fiber stakes.
We don't want a nail style.
Yeah, we don't want a nail style.
We need this style.
Yeah.
We need the Y style. So that's it. That's you know what? Stakes don't get a lot of love, but they can hurt your trip. If you're dealing with stakes, can be such a pain.
Yeah, because maybe you got to get up in the middle of the night to retarp, or then you got to go find a bunch of rocks to put on top of your stakes.
I had to do that.
Yeah, every once in a while you got to do that too, or it's just you can't find a good spot to get a little shepherd's hook in, so then you're tying it off to a tree or something. It's just kind of a pain. That's why
you can't find them.
You drop one of these,
it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. They do make some ones with that with painted orange and stuff and red on it, but that's why it's funny when we walk through campsites a lot of times.
We always see stakes.
We always see shepherd's hook flying around. 'Cause people drop them and they can't find them. And actually, funny story, remember when we were at Linville Gorge, Sam forgot all of his stakes, but just through the course of backpacking one day, we were able to find 4 stakes.
Found 4 stakes because people lost all these shepherd's hooks. So that's it. That's our thoughts on stakes. Like Andy said, we're moving towards this groundhog style, but we're trying to innovate, maybe find something lighter than aluminum, but
we're not done yet.
But
that's what we're going to go with for now.
So thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts on stakes, your favorite stakes. I know it's something we don't talk about, but we probably should. So thanks for watching, and we will see everybody on the next one.